Hi, this is Bishop Kelly Zimmerman. I am going to share a moment of transparency with you in this video. I'm going to share a story about myself. Um, I have my four-legged baby here trying to get me to give him a belly rub while I'm talking to you. So I'm sorry if I'm just laughing just now. He's trying to be a distraction to me, which is a positive distraction. But nevertheless, this is a time that I'm going to be transparent. We've all heard on the news about the recent suicides of two celebrities, and that's disheartening. But we also have this alarming rate within our own communities because the reality of it is that a lot of us are not celebrities. A lot of us are everyday people. Some of us are in our own rights more visible among our own peers. Some of us are people of public trust in our communities. Some are people that are visible in our families. Some are even within our own faith communities. Some are in our workplace. But regardless of where we are in our communities, we have to look at the fact that this epidemic in the mental health arena has increased a lot within the past several years, according to the Center for Disease Control. Every 12 minutes approximately, and I think I've said that right. I posted it on my Facebook page. We have so many that are committing suicide. And what this research has also postulated is that people are not always having, quote, mental health issues. You know, we used to say that people that are committing suicide have mental health disorders, but it's not always a mental health disorder. As the Center of this Disease Control is postulating, people are now having situations in which it could be financial, it could be health wise. But I'm going to share with you a story that is personal to me because it is me. I've never personally had thoughts of suicide, but I have had thoughts where it is, what if I have not existed? I think we've all, to a certain degree, have had thoughts similar to that. I think that's one of the humanistic approaches. What if I wasn't here? What would life be like to that degree? I'll say in about 2015, I began to get really sick early in that year. And we didn't know what was wrong with me. I had been going to doctors. I had been working in the addiction field because that is part of my comfort zone, working in that field, and it's part of my passion. I worked in a job that I thought that I was pretty good in, and I received a lot of compliments, accolades. Was in process of part of my certification, and was doing pretty good. Had a pretty good rapport among my clientele. Still, some of my clientele give me a call and contact me and let me know that they're doing well. Worked in my faith community and ministered to a lot of people. But in my own life, I was having issues with my body. I was having a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort. And it was not just that year that I was having these issues, but previous years before, it was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and thought we had this thing under control, stopped working for a while, got it under control, went back to work. But this year in 2015, this thing was getting the best of me. This thing was having me to the point where I was going to work on it every day, was not missing work, was doing my thing, getting my mojo on. Okay? Not being arrogant, but I was good at what I was doing. And of course, when you're good at what you're doing, you're going to have people that are your Tobias and Sanballats. Some people in the faith community know what I'm talking about, but you're going to have your frenemies even in your field. Um, you're going to have people that feel that you're cocky. You're going to have people that don't like the letters behind your name. You're going to have people that's going to feel threatened. But at the same token, you're going to enjoy what you do, because if you're an advocate for the people that you're serving, um, you're going to protect those that you're serving, because you want to see the bigger picture come to full fruition. Because if you're for recovery, you're truly for recovery. And sometimes that means that you got to kick against the pricks, and you're going to make some people mad. So some people capitalized off of what I was going through. But nevertheless, I was going through my own personal battles. And some people may saw that I was struggling physically and profited off of that. But at the same token, I was going through that issue. I was going through pain in my body, and the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. And I was fighting that battle and fighting battles on the job. And I was going through making sure that I was protecting and helping the people that I was serving, aid in their recovery. So I was going through a lot of different things there. So in the process of that, who was helping me, if you will, in my process? I was not getting the help that I needed until it was too late. Because, I was so busy trying to protect everybody else and wearing my Wonder Woman's cape that I didn't, what was the saying, take care of myself, you know. And that's one of the things that you learn when you're in the clinical field. Self-care is very important. And so what I was doing more harm to myself. And unbeknown to me, I was falling into a depression state myself. So I began to react out, but I was still trying to hold it down. I was still trying to hold it down, but it was affecting my body. That's how it was manifesting out even more through the pain that I was going through in my body. So even though the doctors was trying to figure out what was going on in my body and nobody could find out, and the blood work was coming inconclusive and nobody could find out, and I'm like, well, send me to Johns Hopkins, send me to Duke University, send me somewhere, you know, because, I'm starting to miss days on my job, and I'm getting rolled up, and I'm getting all of these accusations, and I'm still fighting to stay, keep my job, and I'm trying to keep my work up to par. And so, then I'm getting the shiftings of the guards, if you will. That's what I would call changing of supervisors. And I knew what the tactics were, because I'm just being transparent. So, and where I knew that if you change to a certain supervisor, that's when they were trying to get rid of you. And I knew where I was going. And it wasn't nothing for me to have to go to the human resources to on a daily basis, just like a kid would have to go to the principal's office every day. I knew, I just already knew, just get your pocketbook, because any day now they was giving you the pink slip. But I said, no, regardless of what you do to me, you can't take what I've achieved already, because at the end of the day, I know what I got. And you can't take that. You could try to blackball me. You could do whatever. So I took it with grace, and I stood my ground, and I said, I'm not leaving without a fight, And but I still was kind of in the flesh. I didn't, and excuse me for rubbing my nose. I have allergies, but I was rigid and I was stern and I was one of them. I was still a mad black woman, but at the same token, I didn't go fussing and cussing and all of that stuff. And see, some people look for you to do that, and I'm not saying just trying to make that a racial thing, but because I'm going to tell you, regardless of what your race is, even your own will still do the same thing. And I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to offend any particular ethnic origin, but I'm saying sometimes you got to stop using the racial card for every single thing. That goes for every ethnic origin. But at the end of the day, I said, quite frankly, what was in my heart and what was on my mind to everybody I needed to say it to. So when I did leave, and I left by my own choice, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, I'm just saying, I left by my own choice. I left, but my body was still going through the pain, and it still hurt physically and emotionally, because there was still a lot of unanswered questions. And I was more concerned about my health than any job, than any what was on my record or anything. And so, according to my spiritual convictions, when I wanted to go to court, according to my spiritual convictions, I felt it was necessary just to leave that area alone and just focus on my health. And so that's what I chose to do. And I had to dealing with a long tenure of being depressed because of more of the unanswered questions that was going on in my body. And those that knew me in my employment tenure, and I'm sure that some of my former colleagues will probably see this video, they knew I was like about big as my pinky, and I was tiny, and but I was not healthy because I had so much sickness. Here I was vibrant. I was doing well. I had just came off a wonderful cruise, and dealt with the death of my mother, and then health issues, and I was just getting ready to be consecrated as a bishop of the Lord's church, and going through health issues and going through all of these different things. And it was just, I just felt like there was just not enough words to describe what I was going through. And I had I felt like when I look at some of the things, some I had some growing up to do, and I take responsibility of that myself. But at the same token, I was going through a lot, and I could not share it because I saw there was very few that I felt that I could trust. And some of the same ones that say, "Oh, you could trust me, you could trust me, you could trust me." No, I could count on one hand who I could trust. And so, but then I had to learn to go get help because of the fact that the pain was so unbearable. I went and got the proper paperwork, the Family Leave Act. I still was getting rolled up. I went to a therapist. Nobody knew I was going to a therapist. I was going through, still getting rolled up, I was going through, nobody took time, supervisors, nobody sat down to try to help me. But it was okay. I literally felt like back in the days before they really, and I'm not equating myself to an animal, like a horse. But the best analogy that I could put, and anybody that knows me knows that I do this all the time. It was like an old racehorse back in the days that after the racehorse uh, served its purpose and it got an injury, they would put it out of its misery by shooting it. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. And I was so hurt by the people that's supposed to have the clinical expertise. And I'm not attacking, but sometimes uh, we get in the point that sometimes we lose sight as well. And but at the same token, I should have earlier. I take responsibility because as a clinical professional myself, I should have engaged in self care sooner. So I should take some of the responsibility because as much is given, much is also required. But and I hope this blesses a lot of people because I'm being transparent. So what I did do after I left my employment, I started taking care of me. Uh, some things that I heard, and I didn't go looking for information. And I'm not going to put that information on this broadcast because some things is not meant to be discussed. I didn't laugh, I didn't gloat, but I made it a matter of prayer in my meditation. I had to learn to forgive. Uh, some relationships, those chapters are going to be closed, but I learned to forgive because in the vocation, spiritual vocation that I'm in, I have to forgive. Number one, I taught about forgiveness in recovery. And the same principles that I taught in recovery for addiction is the same principles that you use in every area of your life. And I taught my clients the same thing, and I had to go back and eat the same crow that I taught them. I did. I had to eat the same crow because I ate it before. I applied it before, so I had to go back and eat it myself. And it started helping me not only emotionally, but helped me some in my physical. Um, the doctors began to find some of the things that was going on with me. We're still working out some of the things that's going on. Um, but I also had to go back and do some homework to help me in some of my situations. I was talking to a lady today, and some of the things is that we both were talking about is removing some of the stressors. I had to accept the realization that some environments I will never be able to engage in ever again in my lifetime. And some um, includes some of the working environments. Some of the working environments I will never be able to engage in again because I know how I'm wired. I know how I'm equipped. And if I see things that are not right and I can't address it and I know that I see it's wrong, I'm not going to be able to cohabitate in that environment. Because what happens is I'll internalize it. And if I internalize it, even if I address it, I can't accept cohabitating in that environment. Because what happens is, even if I have to cohabitate in that environment, it's going to affect me one way or the other, either emotionally or physically. And so the environment that I once was in, I saw there's certain things that I just can't deal with because if it's wrong and I see it and I can't, if I stay in that environment, it's like I condone it. And if I stay in that environment and that means I condone it, then the blood's going to be in my hand. So I can't deal with that. And then what happens is it adds stress onto me and I'll end up back in that situation. So if that means that certain things, certain quote tangible credentials that I may never have, then so be it. Because truth be told, I can run ring around some that may have those tangible credentials. And I'm not throwing shade, but at the same token, I know what I bring to the table. And I add validity, and I can use what I have, the rod that's in my hand, to bless the kingdom of God. And my gift will make room. And that scripture, I'm not trying to manipulate it, but I'm using that in the regards of the gift that God gave me was the knowledge to be able to add, to bring deliverance and to help people go to the dimension, go to the level that God intended them to reach, which means if that helps them to get deliverance from addiction, from mental illness, what words of encouragement to help them achieve their goals, whatever I can do to help a person, I'm still going to be able to do that, whether I have certain tangible credentials or not. Because truth be known, those that know me know what I bring to the table, and I don't have to advertise it, but I can use the rod that I have, and I promise you I won't run from it. But that's the coping skills that I use. And also, what I had to do to help me is use the medications that the doctors have given me. Does that mean that I'll always be on certain medications? Maybe or maybe not. For example, one of the medications that I take is methotrexate. Methotrexate is a medication that's used for arthritis. And so to help reduce some of the flare-ups that I have, that's what I take. Will I have to take that for the rest of my life? I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. The people that knew me at the job that I was knew that I was a smaller frame. I'm not that now, but do I love myself as much as I did then? Yes, I do. You know, will I be that size again? I don't know. But does it decrease my validity in this world? Nope. Does it decrease my validity in the kingdom of God? Absolutely not. So these are the things that, for me, helps me. I also take certain medications that are considered antidepressants, but they also help with my arthritis symptoms. I take also medications that help with my migraines because I also am diagnosed with chronic migraines. So those medications are medications that I may take for the rest of my life, but I may not take them for the rest of my life. Does that decrease my validity? No. For example, topiramate is a medication that is given for bipolar disorder. Have I been diagnosed with bipolar disorder? Absolutely not. A person that has bipolar disorder, does that devalidate them? Absolutely not. But I take that medication for the prevention of migraines. So those medications serve as multi-purposes. But sometimes you have to use, I almost bit my lip there, what you have to have the best of life. But you use the rods that's in your hand. You be transparent. You continue to live. It doesn't devalue you. But do what you have to do so that you can have the best of quality of life. Don't abuse the medications. Go into a counseling session. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. I'm going to be posting more videos. I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to try to have more witnesses, expert people in my videos, because I want to have a community to add on, to support, to encourage, to inspire. I'm going to also do videos to talk about more from a faith perspective as well, because I want as many viewers, regardless of whether you are of a person of faith. I want everyone, as many people who see this, to be inspired and encouraged, because mental illness is real. Health awareness is important. Look, people are dying every day. And if you can have a quality of life, it is my goal that you have that. It is important that we all take care of ourselves holistically. Holistically means mind, body, and spiritually. This is Bishop Kelly Zimmerman. I'm going to stop for this particular moment, but I just wanted to at least one other video for this particular day and share just a little bit of my nuggets with you. I hope this bless you, and I will be sharing more. But we're going to have a great time together. Some of this is going to be so much fun. Well, I hope all of this is going to be inspiring. And some of my videos, it's just going to be a random just because video. It's just going to be just awesome. You all have a wonderful day. Take care.